rig, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free.
What is going on, guys? Justice is a process here for a little pre-recorded live show to give you an update, much requested, a live update here on the Ty Tucker case. I also have another chat with Ty. He called me a couple of weeks ago. It's been about 2 weeks now. Shows you how behind I am on getting this out. His hearing since happened, but he and I had a nice chat. He called me. He said he got two free calls. One of those calls was to talk to me. So I want to make sure this gets out and we can get this going. So I will be doing another live show at some point here in the near future to discuss the cases I'm covering, because I have a lot to say on those and a lot to discuss, hours really, but we'll do that in another setting. But today what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to Ty's phone call. Then I'm going to review some documents that he references in the phone call. And we're going to watch a little clip of his trial. And then there is a call to action he has in the call. So we're going to try to keep this about maybe 30, 40 minutes tops, getting through what we need to. So you guys get a full update on what's going on. And we're also, of course, going to go into this appears to be a new prosecuting attorney. So first thing we're going to do is play this phone call with Ty. So let's get that up here and get that started. So give me a moment. Let me make sure we're calibrated and okay. I don't want to have any mistakes here. So here we go.
Get them to pay for everything, so that's looking good.
Awesome.
I don't know what Morgan's going to do, to be honest. They're pissed off at me right now because of the whole, with the preaching pro se, man, fucking, and writing motions, man, that other people can use and all that other shit. So, man, apparently they're going to call me the jailhouse Jesus now, because I'm trying to help everybody.
Because you're trying to help it, yo.
Yep. I'm trying to save everyone.
Yep.
That's what it was. That was the joke. Anyway, the point is, man, fucking, so, I'm sure he's going to try and hammer me if he can.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I'm not so sure, just because, I don't know if, man, that letter I wrote to Bonnie Helms made it up on the docket yet, but, man, fucking, that one, yeah, I'm sure he's going to temper himself a little bit. We'll see.
No, I don't think. Would that have been on the third DCA, or would that have been on your regular? Because nothing.
That'll be on the Monroe County docket.
Yeah, nothing. Well, I'll double check today, but last time I looked, no, that did not show up there.
Well, I wrote her a letter, man, about, the change of venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I told her that one of the grounds I'm using for my change of venue is a conflict of interest with the 16th Judicial, right? Since I've been through two of her judges now. And one of them, man, the JQC has already accepted the complaint on. That would be Jones. And, man, the other one, Morgan, I've already sent the complaint off, man, about him, right? And I have a feeling that one's going to be accepted, too.
Good.
Right? So, and then not to mention that, I also told her about the DOJ and how my complaint to them specifically said, that their legal system down here is nothing more than a front for organized crime.
Right.
And the feds have definitely been down here, boy. They have been cleaning up house down here.
Have they? That's good.
Oh yeah, man. They arrested 27. They indicted 27 more people
Wow.
a week ago. And there's a chick from the MCSO who has been arrested, and man, on RICO. So
on RICO charges? No kidding.
On RICO charges, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely, man, it's going around, and man, the helicopter thing I told you about, the trauma star.
Yep.
So the thing is, man, they got the 27 indictments were people who were bringing in the cocaine. Then they got the trauma star bringing the cocaine to Miami, and then they got this chick. She was a sergeant from Road Patrol, and they busted her, man, on 13 different RICO charges.
Oh wow.
Something like that. So she's sitting in the jail right now. But You know, so there's been a lot of things going on, and man, as far as my case goes specifically, every agency has been on board, with the exception of the bar, right? And my plan with them is I just wrote them back again because Ms. Malcolm from the bar, her idea was, okay, well, Judge Jones is off the case now. We'll let the trial court handle it. She didn't know that I disqualified Morgan yet. So I wrote her back, man. I wrote her about that one, but I also wrote to her that, man, as far as Alvarez and Mansfield go, I can't write down a complaint about them, right?
Right.
But what I told her I was going to do is I'm going to go ahead and suggest to everyone who ever watched that freaking video that, man, they go ahead and write complaints to them and see how they like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because it seemed to work for the DOJ when I did that with Facebook and had all the people, man, writing complaints to the DOJ. Well, now they're down here. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it'll work with the Florida bar too. Because
in the video you're talking about, Ty, is the one regarding, you're talking about the closing arguments, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've been wanting to do that. And that's one of, when I was talking, I said it's one of 3 videos I'm getting ready to do, which I wanted to do the closing arguments.
Well, that'll be perfect then, because.
And that's what I'll ask them to do, and I'll put the information up, because that's what I really wanted, because I said, that's really where, there's
right,
so much.
They won't accept a complaint from me because, man, the case is still ongoing. Right. And they're still the prosecutors. Right. But they will accept complaints from other people. And the thing is, man, like I said, it worked really well with the DOJ. Right? By the way, the FDLE is on board now, too, man, as far as investigating the MCSO for the evidence tampering and for the posse they brought down to the courthouse.
Oh, awesome.
Right?
Good.
Yeah, so they're going to be getting charged criminally there, too.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's all, man, going. I've been a busy little beaver behind bars.
Well, it's that letter is up, so I'm going to be definitely covering that now, because I just saw it got posted up. It looks like it got put on your docket. It looks like on the 3rd is when they put it up.
What I suggested to Helms was this, because I also told her, man, I should have wrote a JQC complaint on her.
Right.
She knew about both Morgan and Jones. Right. I made her aware of both of those things and didn't do anything. Right, but I told her, this is your chance to do something, obviously I have a conflict of interest with the 16th Judicial.
Yes.
So if you have the power to, man, go ahead and recommend a change of venue, then I suggest you do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if not, then, man, I suggest that whichever judge you pick, is on board.
Right.
Basically.
Is on board with being fair. Correct. Right.
Yeah, because, man, it's gotten ridiculous. Again, even with the jail, man, because the jail's been getting ridiculous about shit, too. Like, man, I sent in for copies, man, to file a motion for change, not the motion for change of venue, a motion for continuance, right, for the 15th. Right. And they sent me 1 copy back. It's like, I need at least 3. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, and man, and the whole snail mail thing with all that shit, so it's like, okay. So now I'm going to go on the 15th. I'm going to have to, man, verbally ask for a motion.
The fact that the 3rd DCA has the disqualification motion still pending should give almost an automatic continuance with any further proceedings.
You would think, but man, but you got to remember, Morgan's been on a rampage. He's been doing some crazy shit. Like, one of the guys in here tried to go pro se. He, man, basically straight up told him, he was like, if you go pro se, I'm not going to give you another lawyer, and I'm going to make you go to trial in a month.
Wow. Well, this is why they have to, like I said, Morgan seems to be he's a guy who believes for some reason that he can do whatever he wants, and he'll get brought.
Yeah, he's completely off the rails.
He's going to get brought to his knees, but that's why that individual needs to, again, all of these things are recorded like you have, and the hope is obviously the 3rd DCA is not and that's what I said, and I said this could be the break, because the 3rd DCA gets involved here. And
the 3rd DCA, man, you got 3 judges who are going to be looking at it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now they're going to be listening to the tapes. Everything, and it's all on record what you were saying in your motions. So, and the fact that Morgan leaned away from the microphone. It's crazy what he tried to set up that says you're entitled, as would anybody, is proper service of any motion. So you're supposed to be served every document that's on the docket. And any delay in doing so is again, it's a due process issue. It's an inability for you to confront.
I mean, everything from having me arrested, just so that, man, he could tie my hands behind my back. I mean, because you know how much I lost, just because I got arrested? I mean, it's insane. You know, and I have to be able to make up for that. And I mean, he's been absolutely, like I said, on a rampage.
Yes.
But luckily, I also let them know about what he said, man, as far as when he threatened that person, right? Because he did it to two people that day, right? On his docket, right? Because two people tried to go pro se. And then he did it, man. He's like, we noticed you didn't write your motion. We have a good feeling who did, and all this other kind of bullshit, right?
So,
and it's like, whatever. I don't care, man. There's nothing against the law there either. And wouldn't surprise me if they try and bust me for practicing law without a license.
Well,
so here's the thing, is then they can't do that.
No, well,
right? Well, the reason they can't is because, man, incarcerated individuals, right? If you don't have a trained legal assistant here to help other people, to help the inmates with their legal work, then no, inmates aren't allowed legally to help each other.
Well, also, well, let me also let you understand this too, right? This is because, remember, my dad was prosecuted for that exact same thing. Now,
I remember.
And it was a landmark case because no one had ever been, at least in the state of West Virginia, had ever been prosecuted like that. Now, my dad's sole argument in that was that basically, the way the statute reads, at least in West Virginia, is it's a matter of whether they think you're a lawyer or not. So everyone in that jail knows you're not a lawyer.
Right.
So, as a result, it's about holding out and saying, I'm a lawyer. So as long as they know you're not a lawyer and you're just telling them, hey, this is what I've done in my case. And again, that's why my dad towed a fine line, that it was, he would tell them, go down to the clerk's office and here's these motions. Well, but listen, Ty, what you're doing is going to piss them off because that's why they got mad at my dad, because it gives people legs. It gives people the ability to fight. It gets in the way of what they already have set up.
Gives them a way to fight.
Yes, and that's what they don't want. Because when you fight the system...
They don't want... Well, think about it, man. How idiotic was it to, arrest me and put me in here in the first place? Because, look, I'm teaching all these people how to fight.
Well, I don't think Morgan really understood. Like, I think he really had some idea that you were going to be some individual that was just... It was like, you're not going to be capable of doing much. But the reality is... you obviously you have
more capable than they thought.
Right. Well, you're smart. That's what I was telling everyone. I said you're a smart guy. You're But he's thinking to himself, this guy's again the same perspective that a lot of people have had about the case. Oh, Ty's some former homeless guy. He's living down at Cox, but that's not true. Ty's background is far different than that. He's a smart guy, capable of a lot of things. So. He made a mistake, and that's the problem. But that's the great part about arrogant assholes like Morgan. They do this stuff, and then a guy like you can walk in and catch
it. It definitely works against them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I was telling him, even in that letter I wrote him, I was like, look, I've been doing this longer than you've been a PD and a judge combined.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I do know a few things about how to fight.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. It's just the willingness to fight. It's the willingness to raise issues. It's the willingness to figure out how to get it in front of somebody. And the bottom line is, in a case like this, is when they get to the end of it, this is why it's like when somebody with honesty looks into your case, what they're going to see is there is no evidence in this case. You're not guilty. And that's what's incredible. And again, as I've been directing everybody, because I put up the motion to dismiss hearing from 2023, where Mansfield himself acknowledges in the closing of that, he says, we have no other evidence than John Travis Johnson. I acknowledge it. No DNA, nothing. There's nothing else linking him. But if John Travis Johnson is going to say Ty's involved, testimony is evidence, and that's what we're going to rely on. And Pitcher mentioned that. And that's it. And I said, so don't take my word for it. Don't take a supporter's word for it. Go to the prosecutor's words. Listen to it. I have it up. I have it right here. It's read. You can read it or you can listen to it. And he tells you that. So once that happens, then you look at John Travis Johnson's testimony, And you realize John Travis Johnson's lying, and what he said couldn't possibly happen.
Well, not even that.
There's no evidence.
Man, that's another thing.
It's
well,
flat
that's
out.
another thing that happened. That happened since I've been in, since I'm, here now, right?
Right.
Okay, I never, they still haven't, man, even though they should have, man, through discovery, I should have gotten all the documents from John Travis Johnson.
Right.
New deal with the prosecution.
Yep.
Right?
Sure.
But I haven't. But when I get those, because I've asked for them multiple times now, and man, there is a motion to compel in there too, right?
Right.
And when I get those, from what I hear, man, he failed every part of his probation.
Wow.
Including absconding.
And they still haven't locked him back up. And yet you...
And they still haven't locked him up.
And that's something you should include in your DCA motion.
He failed drug tests for meth, man. He was living homeless out there in Wisteria, playing king of the homeless or whatever. Then, man, he absconded to Texas.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, the thing is just straight up insane. And then there was another person here who told me, man, straight up he was going to kill some dude with a stone. Hit him in the head with a rock or whatever.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know. But the thing is, man, I'll find out as soon as I get the paperwork. Because, man, if you notice, man, there's several pages to that freaking violation of probation paperwork. It's all sealed, right? So I have to wait to get it. You know what I'm saying? But I'll get my hands on it eventually.
Well, you should.
I'll talk to you later, brother.
Yeah, man, no problem. Stay safe down there, man. All right, guys. So that concludes the phone call between Ty and I. And, so some things to unpack there, some things to show you, okay? So I want to go over a few things. The first thing I want to go over with you, the first thing we're going to look at is the Helms letter. But first I want to address a couple things. So he's now the Jailhouse Jesus. So if you're looking for a nickname for Ty, Jailhouse Jesus, the guy down there, listen, they didn't know what they were doing when they were locking Ty up. Now, just to kind of give you guys a little flavor here of some things, I'm going to show you guys an article what he and I were talking about. I don't know if I have it up anymore. I think I do. Hold on. Here it is. And so I'll show this to you right here. Of what I'm talking about. So let's turn this on. Oops, we'll turn it off for right now until I get the document up that I want. All right. So again, you may say, okay, well, what is this? What's this have to do? Well, this is what I was referencing here, that, exactly what happens when somebody comes in and disrupts the normal flow of things. And here you can see right here, if you want to know, according to, this is my dad specifically. And again, I have not gotten into his full story. It will be gotten into. It will be told. And it is a very, very interesting one. Some of his backstory is told here in a little bit. But you can see here, he was convicted of 11 counts of practicing law without a license because he had his law license taken from him. It's part of what his story is. And as a result, he eventually, as they attempted to oust him from the legal community and his ability to be a part of it, he eventually resorted to helping people, pro se defendants, much like Ty Tucker, beat the system. And they didn't like it. So then they turned on him. Now, I was involved in helping him with this trial. I actually helped him prepare for the trial. I was present for the trial. I was just paralegal by that time. As you can see there, he was 62 years old. He didn't have a law firm anymore. He had been a college professor, but his college let him go because of this. And, essentially, he was fighting the system. But his argument was, as you'll see here, is that, is that he would have had to hold himself out to be a lawyer. The state's counter argument there was that they would have to think he was a lawyer. My assertion to Ty is he isn't. Nobody thinks Ty Tucker's a lawyer. And just to clarify, I'm not a lawyer either. So I'm not a lawyer. So as long as it's known the individual's not a lawyer, it's not legal advice. And that's what I was trying to get across to Ty. It's not legal advice. It's just my opinion on reading something. And as long as somebody doesn't believe, hey, I'm qualified to act on your advice, then, and they know that where they're getting it from, that's not, practicing law without a license. Now, if Ty Tucker goes and files something or does something or holds himself out to be an attorney and somebody hires him, it turns out he doesn't have a law license, he never was, that would be practicing law without a license. Might be fraud in there as well. Anyways, I want to go over that. So, the jailhouse Jesus, man, I don't think they knew what they were getting into when they had Ty Tucker locked back up there. And I love that because it blew up in their face. But let's talk about the Helms letter here, because this is an important piece here. As you heard, I discovered it that day that it was on there. I had missed it up until the moment that Ty called me. And, well, let's take a look at it. Let me get it pulled up here real quick. Give me a moment. There it is. Share that. All right, so there it is behind me. So I'll pull it up here, and it says, so we're going to read it. And it says, "Dear Chief Justice Helms." Now, Helms is the Chief Justice Judge, okay? She's the one that decides who gets cases. She's the top of the top, cream of the crop, okay? It has been some time since I last wrote to you. But as you can probably imagine, I've been fairly busy with the additional obstacles of defending my case while being incarcerated. As you are also probably aware, I filed a motion to disqualify Judge Morgan on August 20th, 2024, that he denied. I fully expected this response from Judge Morgan, as he made it abundantly clear, even more so than Judge Jones, that he intends to railroad me into a life sentence. So, since he denied the motion as untimely with 2 days left on the clock, we now wait for a decision from the 3rd DCA, who I imagine will surely grant my writ of prohibition against Judge Morgan. This brings me to the purpose of my letter. You will soon be tasked once again with appointing a new judge in my case. I know that it doesn't matter. Hold on, I apologize. I lost my place here. I got a notification, threw me off. All right, we're going to start here. This brings me to the purpose of my letter. You will soon be tasked once again with appointing a new judge in my case. I know that it doesn't matter which judge you choose. The next will be just as dirty as the last two. So I wanted you to know that I will be filing for a change of venue, and part of my causes will be a conflict of interest with the 16th Circuit. I'm telling you this, as you and I both know, I will never receive due process of law or a fair trial in Monroe County. My hope is that you will take this information into account when selecting my new judge, so that there will be no more unnecessary delays taking it to the higher court. To be clear, I know that I cannot get a change of venue due to bias or prejudice of a judge, and while it's only one of my causes, the conflict is indeed with the entire judicial circuit. As proof of such, I already have a JQC complaint against Judge Jones that will surely be sustained after watching the video of my trial, which we're going to do. I have already set off my complaint against Judge Morgan, and with his lying about my motion being untimely, combined with the lie he used to arrest me and other misconduct, it's a safe bet that complaint will be sustained as well. I haven't written a complaint specifically about you yet, Your Honor, even though I feel I should. I say this because you were made aware by me of the misconduct and crimes committed by Jones and did nothing. You were also made aware when Morgan had me illegally arrested and incarcerated, but again, you did nothing. Here is your chance, once again, to do something. While I have yet to finish my motion for a change of venue, it is already obvious that I have conflicts of interest with almost every agency in Monroe County's legal system. In my complaint to the DOJ alone, which was accepted, I asserted that the legal system of Monroe County is nothing more than a front for organized crime. Not only is that statement completely true, but there is a mountain of evidence to support it with millions of people who are now aware of it. So no matter what happens in my case, the days that above a system of justice are numbered. I don't know if you have the power to just order or request a change of venue for my case, but if you do, that would obviously be the best solution for all involved. Not only would it alleviate the conflicts, but it would remove the opportunity or appearance of any more impropriety by the 16th Judicial Circuit. However, if that's not within your power, I would just ask you to take all of this into consideration when you appoint my new judge. So hopefully I won't have to again waste time taking a blatant issue to the higher court. Respectfully, Franklin Tyrone Tucker. So there it is, guys. There is the letter to the chief judge. Now, let's unpack that for a moment. What is all that saying? What he's basically saying is that she's done nothing, and he's imploring her to do something. He's imploring her to use her power to try to get Judge Morgan to make sure that, first of all, she gives him a fair judge, and secondly, to potentially even just have the case transferred if it's within her power. And it could be. I don't know if it is or not. But it's important to understand that Judge Helms is aware of all of these things, and she's aware of what I'm going to be showing you. Now, the next thing, I'm going to show you this video because, as you probably heard in the phone call, Ty would like anyone who sees this video, the clip I'm about to show you, to file a complaint against Alvarez and Mansfield. I'm going to give you the information to where you can do that. He can't file it yet, but the complaint is going to be specifically for candor, the lack of candor of a member of the bar. There is a requirement that anything stated in court must be the truth. That anytime they state something in court, they must know it to be true. And if they have evidence that it's not, they can't go forward with it. If they do, it's a violation of their code of ethics and conduct. This clip that I'm going to show you and explain to you why it is, and you need to direct, if you want to do something to help Ty, you need to call the number I'm going to show you and let them know you want to file a complaint against Mansfield and Alvarez's bar card. You can also call down and ask and request to file a complaint against Judge Morgan as well and Judge Jones. Judge Morgan, although we haven't witnessed it, it would be difficult for them to say it because we didn't witness it for that to happen. But if they hear from you, that would be great because they're all lawyers. So you can be filing complaints against them because even as judges, sitting judges, they're members of the bar. So you can file complaints against all of them for the lack of ethical behavior, their lack of candor, their unwillingness to be honest, and it seems their seeming willingness to railroad an innocent man to prison. Anyways, let me first show you this here. Okay, I guess apologize, guys. I thought I had this up. Florida State Bar complaints. All right, here we go. All right. All right, let me share my screen here with this. So here it is. This is the Florida Bar complaint. You can go right to the Florida Bar website. I'll have to pull that up too, but this is the complaint that you can do. You can fill it out online and submit it online. It tells you exactly how to do it. You go in, you fill this out, you fill your name out, your organization, your city, state. You will then need to include an additional sheet. Now, you're going to have to write down specific things or things I'm complaining about. The witness in support of the allegations are, and you can put the link to the YouTube video with this testimony in it. And then you have to place a mark in the box, just like this, and that is your signature. Then you will type your name, okay? And then I guess you have to sign it. I guess I am wrong. You could fill it out. You can't fill it out online. You're going to have to fill it out, print it out. And then we'll go over the steps here to do this. Florida Bar cannot intervene on your behalf. Complainant must give your name, address, facts and allegations on a separate sheet, signature, and then you're going to mail it or email it to the ACAP intake at floridabar.org. So what you're going to want to do is, I would say email, because what you'd be able to do is print these out, take a picture with your phone, or your iPad or whatever device, and then take it in an email, the completed product. And what I would recommend you do is, you have an iPhone, every iPhone's a scanner, scan in that page, the exhibits that you're writing down, and you could just put the YouTube link. This is a court TV video that we're going to be watching. You can also put the link to this video in it. But the court TV video is the original place that they're probably going to want to see, because that's where it was airing, and put that up and say, listen, look at what's going on. Now, do I believe any of these complaints will even be will end up founded or result in anything? Maybe not, but it's going to bring awareness. It's going to get people looking at this, and it's going to allow for someone, and maybe someone's complaint is from the state of Florida, or when Ty finally gets a chance to file his complaints, it's going to bolster those, right? So anyways, I've shown you that. That's the, hold on, I hope I had it up. Did it come up? Well, look at that, guys. I apologize. Well, it appears I never turned my screen share on. So you guys just saw me talking about a complaint. So anyways, let's show this. Actually, you know what it did? It turned it off. I don't know why. All right. So first off, let me show you what I was doing. We'll do this all over again. I apologize. Since this is pre-recorded, hopefully I'm going to hope to cut that out. So, all right. So looking at this here, this is the Florida Bar website. This is where you want to go. You're going to click the download complaint form. Okay. And this is what's going to come up. So give me a moment. We're going to do this. So I'm going to make sure my stuff is up. And we're going to share that. And let's make sure it's up. So there it is behind me. Okay. So this is the form from the complaint form, the official complaint form. Let me find where it's at here. There it is. So as we were going over all this, I've kind of already described what you're doing here. I've given you the visual description, but this is what you were not seeing. Do not attach thumb drives, flash drives, or photographs. Do not submit your original supporting documents. You want to scan it in or take a picture of it. You want to, you want to only include, like I said, a YouTube. If you look up, if you go onto the YouTube site, you can just put in the link and write it in on the document. But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to link it in here, because it's not going to be a link where you're able to just click a hot link in here, because it's going to have to be a picture taken and uploaded to that website. Anyways, this is what you're going to do. Come down here. This is all. You can just type your name in. This part's really easy, and you're going to have to print it out though. So if you don't have a printer, I know Apple iPhones and iPads will let you sign a document right on there. So you can do technically this all online, because you could type it up on an iPad or an iPhone. Once you get it on your iPhone, you can do the signature and lay it on there. Save it. Save your supporting document. What I would say is, I'm going to explain to you here when we watch the video, that the prosecutors in this case lied to the court in regards to Ty's statement, and knowing that he had met with the police and withheld that from the jury and attempted to represent to the jury that he had no other way to know about how blood would have got on a knife. And they lied and held this out to the jury in a capital case. Boom. Attach that and send it in. Like I said, this is about bringing awareness. It's not about necessarily being successful, but it's about bringing awareness. It's about the state bar making a phone call and saying, why in the hell, Dennis Ward, am I getting all these complaints? What is happening right now? And what are you doing? And why are you doing this? And if you don't think it will work, it will. But people have to call. Action has to happen. I will be doing this. So That's why I say get this video around. This is exactly what you need to do. In the description to this video, I will be putting the website link to the Florida State Bar complaint area. So you will be able to click into it and get this done. I will also put the link to the video that we're going to be watching right now. So you're going to have both of those pieces that you're going to be able to get done if you want to help Ty and do something to help the man out, which I think he deserves. I mean, he's sitting down in jail right now, and this is the least that could be done for him on his behalf. Now, the final thing we're going to do is we're going to watch this video, because one of the core things is you have to have been a witness. You will now be a witness. If you didn't watch this trial or you missed this part of the trial, now you're going to be a witness. You've watched it. You've seen it. Now you can become a complainant and say, this is wrong. So let me pull this up, make sure I get this right here. We don't want any mistakes. And all right. So here we are. I'm going to stop and start it to explain what we're watching. But there it is behind me. Let's hit the play button and start listening.
All over the place. Some of her testimony, she seems to get right. She starts in 2017, and you saw the hospital video yesterday. She was at the hospital the night of the attack, and she's adamant. I can't identify that second person. At one point, I think she gets upset with Officer Malone, and she says, "Lady, I told you this 3 times. I can't ID him. I had a 250-pound gorilla on top of me beating the shit out of me." That was what she said. She couldn't say anything about the second guy. Now, this is interesting. Paula testified that in the very few days right after the incident, they were at McDonald's on November 22nd. It's about, 4 or 5 days after this incident. And the defendant testified to this yesterday. I saw Paula at McDonald's. We weren't friends, but we knew each other. I was feeling so bad and so sorry for myself for being interrogated for this thing all night. And he's scared, and he's feeling sorry for himself, I guess. And I remember seeing Paula. This is his testimony. I remember seeing Paula, and she had a bandage on her neck from the knife, right? And I remember seeing her, and I was just like, all of a sudden, I felt like, well, I'm trying not to curse, but I felt really bad. Here I am feeling sorry for myself, and then I see her. That was his testimony. Next one, please. Paula's deposition back in May of 2019. This would be, about 2 years, almost 2 years after the event. Actually, he himself, Tucker, told me that when we were at McDonald's, he himself told me, "Oh, the police found a knife with blood on it," because I said, "Oh, good, it would be my blood." And he said, "No, it's Matt's." That confirmatory test didn't come from FDLE until months, years later. So how did he know that was going to be Matt's blood on the knife? He told Paula 4 days after the event.
Okay, obviously this is it. This is the moment. The fact that he would even make this argument. He knew, because Mansfield knew the interrogation video existed, where Phelps tells him that Bonnett's blood is on the knife. She tells him that. So how can he make this argument? And the problem is you can't get an interrogation video in because it's hearsay. So the only way it can come in is if there was a prior inconsistent statement. So that couldn't come in. Now, there could be an exception here because, Mansfield's lying to the court. He's lying to the jury. He's misusing this. This is what Vinnie Politan was talking about when he said, "I don't feel comfortable with this. This isn't right. This is dishonest. This is wrong, what you just witnessed." And I'm going to let it play out. So this is what you're going to send, if you want to the complaint, to file a complaint against these prosecutors, because this is egregious behavior, because this is a capital case, and this is improper. Anyways, let's continue listening.
He told me they found a knife, and I said, "Oh, good, that'll have my blood on it." And he said, "No, not going to be your blood, it's going to be Matt's blood." If he was passed out from his Red Balls or atom bombs or fireballs back at the warehouse, how does he know about that? How does he know Matt's blood's going to be on that knife? Because he was there. He knows where that knife went. It went into Matt's back. That's how he knows. He knows that knife is not the one that was used on Paula. He knows that knife is the one that was used on Matthew Bonnett. Remember, he brought the knife to that event. Travis saw the knife in his possession. So he confirms to Paula, no, that's going to be Matt's blood. And then she said, whether that was true or not, I don't know. He himself told me that while we were sitting at McDonald's, that the knife that the police found had Matt's blood. That's a quote from her answer. She said it at least twice. She was not mistaken about what she remembered him saying. And that's very telling. That's huge. Because nobody would have known. Even the detectives didn't know it was Matt Bonnett's blood on that knife at that point in time.
Okay. I'll sustain the objection to the extent, remember folks, this is closing argument. Your decision and verdict is based upon the evidence in the law. And the counsel's giving a closing, which is not evidence. So with that, you can proceed.
Folks, you heard the testimony from Angela, our DNA expert. That's when we got the confirmatory results of the blood on the knife. That was long after, 4 days after this was a year, at least several months after the event. Tucker's telling Paula 4 days after the event whose blood is on the knife. Nobody knows that, sir, except the people that were there. Next one. Okay. Nobody would know that except the people that were there, and that's huge. Now, the defendant took the stand and he's been wrong.
So, guys, listen, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. What Mansfeld's telling the jury is a lie. Okay, first of all, police lie to people all the time. He was lied to by the police in an attempt to try to get him. They were using the Reed technique. And they hid that interrogation video. So they attempted to misrepresent the situation in the statement that Paula made. Now, the problem is, and then, but what really gets bad is when they object to Ty Tucker trying to explain it. Okay? And he's called to sidebar in his closing. Let me see if I can find that one. Hold on a moment. Because I was showing this, but I have his closing right here. Here comes the closing. Let me
the opportunity for the defendant to make
once. Does he say how that began?
Yeah, so he starts
noticeably.
All right.
Irritated.
All right, here we are.
Upset. And there's a good reason why. Mr. Mansfield up here corroborated, pounded that into your heads, right? Again, all Travis corroborated was his own story. That's it. He literally, all those details that he just handed out to you, the drawing the map, the I said this, I did that, all this stuff. Yeah, somebody was there who did the crime could actually tell you all those things. Makes sense. And he's saying that's the only thing that makes sense is that Travis is actually, believable. Okay, well, when I put myself on the stand yesterday, Mr. Mansfield didn't impeach my testimony once. Not once. Did he say, prove that I lied anywhere in there? Then he goes ahead and he corroborates my testimony by saying, oh, you told the investigators the same thing 6 years ago. Yes, I did. And why I'm upset? 6 years ago. And after 6 years, the state comes up here with Travis said. That's why I'm here, right? That's what it boils down to. And, I gotta say, yes, I am upset. I'm literally sick to my stomach right now.
Objection, Judge, to the improper argument.
Well, I will overrule the objection. If you're sick and need to take a break, sir, I'll certainly give you an opportunity.
I meant I'm sick, because I had to sit there and listen.
And again, there you have it. If you want to file the JQC complaint as well against Judge Jones, I mean, what a jerk there. He knew what it was. He like Judge Jones was making fun of him. And you know, he knew what that was referencing to. But, you know, of course, you had Mansfield objecting. But look, this is par for the course. It's about to come up here, but let's keep listening. But you hear Ty, he's off his game now. And that's part of the problem with why the way this closing argument goes, and it really goes off the rails after he attempts to explain the interrogation, and he's called to the bench and called to task by Judge Jones. Which again, if it's my life on the line, I don't care about procedures. That's the thing that I tried to want to impart in Ty this time around. If he gets a chance to close this case again, if when he goes to trial, because I don't think this gets resolved without a trial. When that happens, then he's going to need to, just throw the rule book out. He's going to need to just talk to that jury and tell them, I'm an innocent man, wrongfully accused, and I'm not going to stand for this. And they need to see that passion. Anyways, let's continue listening here.
To this.
Okay.
Again, Mr. Mansfield even says in his argument, in his closing argument, two guys. That's what all the evidence says. That's what it said from the beginning. Go back to the corroboration. Again, Cosme video doesn't corroborate Travis's story. Even Detective Fernandez, who he brings up, says corroborates Travis's story. A getaway driver's truck. We wasn't corroborate Travis's. It wasn't Travis. Not once. Let's go on from there. We've got, Malone. It was making me very ill. The prosecution went ahead and they made sure that you didn't hear about the investigation, how it went.
Objection, Judge, improper argument.
And I will sustain that objection.
Okay. So, anyway, let's go here. I came here. I was living, right? I live in Oregon. That's where I live now. I didn't try and hide from this thing. I came here of my own free will, hopped on a plane, came down to Key West, right? As Mr. Mansfield suggested, my wife is a multimillionaire. That's true. Absolutely. I could be standing in front of you with slick lawyers, that kind of thing.
Judge, improper argument.
I will overrule the objection.
Can we come sidebar?
Yes.
Prosecution wanted to put in. I let them. I didn't object. I did the DNA results. And they want to use inconclusive as a positive, right? That's what they're trying to do. Now, inconclusive means exactly that, inconclusive. And then, to boot, when he starts, talking about the sweatshirt and the gloves, these are things that weren't even recovered from the crime scene. Don't have anything to do with the crime as far as we know, right? They were recovered from the warehouse, that's true. Somewhere's in there in the warehouse. They didn't put those into evidence. Those weren't found at the crime scene. They weren't found to have the victim's blood or DNA or anything like that on them. They're found to be in the warehouse. Again, that means nothing. Going back to it again, you're looking at this, what is it? Let's see. So he wants to say, again, Travis's story is corroborated, right? Again, the weapons. We go down to the weapons. Travis says, a pipe and a knife. Roger Ruggett, who he said is very believable, very credible, right, does say something about a smaller knife later brought to the scene. So, again, it's just trying to confuse and literally turn over. I was looking at all the witnesses. That knife killed Matthew Bonnett, right? I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. But what says I'm carrying that knife? What says to kill Matthew Bonnett, right? They bring the DNA expert. Anything that has to do with this crime, the crime scene. I put let them put in what they want. Let them put up the testimony they want. I'm angry. I'm not going to say I'm not. Get up there, and again, it didn't happen, didn't need to. This is another one. Talks about corroboration. The clothes. I want to go back to the clothes that people were wearing. Travis's story. He takes us back to the warehouse. We go upstairs. We change into dark clothing. That's what he said. That's what he testified to. Paula, on the other hand, testifies that Rory Wilson's wearing the same clothes, and he actually uses this in his PowerPoint. That Paula testifies, wearing the same clothes she saw him in earlier that day. So where'd he change clothes? Again, where'd that happen? Because if he's wearing the same clothes he's wearing that afternoon, then why isn't he in different clothes? Because Travis said he went up and changed. So how's that corroborated? It's not. Again, and then you talk about Travis's testimony. Travis tries to put the knife in my hand. Well, the DNA says differently. Now, again, if you use gloves, well, okay, says that either. Committing a crime with it, it should be participated, or whether or not, not that you participated, that you actually did anything, not even discussed the crime with them. Somebody who's trying to hide things, knife, and not how I had the knife, but how I knew the knife was, it was Matt's blood on the knife, right? But then he doesn't want me to tell you about what interrogators talked to me about when I was down down being grilled all night. What they actually told me.
Judge, I'm going to object. Can we come sidebar?
Yeah, okay.
And that right there, sorry it took me a little while to find it. I wasn't prepared to have it. But in that, you got to get a little flavor of Ty's closing. That right there is where the first clip I showed you, this is where it gets to be where we're talking possibly, you could say, criminal, where there's a complaint that needs to be filed. Because what they're doing here is, and this is where Judge Jones is complicit, there was a remedy that needed to be done. These prosecutors didn't allow that interrogation in, and the remedy was the judge should have overruled that objection and let Ty Tucker testify to that jury about what happened, even though he shouldn't be allowed to necessarily do that, but he should have been able to tell them because he was restricted from talking about it during his cross-examination. He was restricted to talking about it in his redirect because it's hearsay. He can't say what he said to investigators. He can only tell you what it was today. He was not allowed to get into that. So, and this is the moment when the closing argument goes off the rails. This is when he walks back over, and this is when I would have just continued on with what I said. I mean, it's his life on the line. But we're gonna skip through this here. Let's keep skipping here. Here it comes. And this is when Ty's total demeanor changes. But that right there is the solidification,
ladies and gentlemen,
of what they did.
Again, you'll have to forgive me. It's upsetting.
Keep your voice up, please.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, I went down to the station. I was there all night. You have to. Again, I can't tell you how the interrogation or the interview went. I can't tell you what they told me. I can't tell you anything about that. Which again, it is very frustrating. Not to be able to provide you with any of that information. I wish I could. And again, Mr. Mansfield also alluded to, nothing being tampered with, nothing, being.
All right, so look, that ends that video. You've now been a witness to all the parts of the video that you would need to file a complaint against the prosecutors in this case, because what you just saw there. Now, I will acknowledge, Ty could have done more with that in argument. If he was a skilled arguer, he could have. What he should have been arguing was, because it's not evidence, it's argument. He should have argued to the jury that, listen, I was down with the police all night. As you know, police will tell you things. They will lie to suspects. They can tell you anything. And it's very likely that what I heard is as likely as what Mansfield's saying. It's that the only way I heard that was because of whatever was said to me at the police station by the police. He can't get into the specifics of what's said. See, that's where Ty didn't hear what the judge was trying to explain to him, and he didn't do a really good job because he could have argued. He couldn't specifically say what was said, but he could have said, listen, what was said to me at the police station is why I said what I said. I can't tell you what was said, but I can tell you that's what the reason was. And since he's the one telling them that, they can infer greater than they could if it was his attorney saying, well, it's possible, could have been this. But my thing is, you kick that door in. What are they going to do? Give you a mistrial? The first thing you do, what I would have done is I'd have walked off and I'd have said, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption. Listen, the way I found that, the reason why I told, the bottom line is, the reason why I told Paulo Belmont about blood being on a knife is because Captain Phelps told me it was there, and I wouldn't have stopped speaking until the bailiff took me away in handcuffs. Because at that point, the jury's going back to deliberate. They're going to know, but he didn't choose to handle it that way. But the bottom line is the fact that they did that anyways, and then they doubled down by objecting and trying to silence him when they knew what they were telling the jury in their closing argument was a lie, is all you really need. The state bar needs to see this. Should that guy be a judge? Judge Jones knows that was wrong. And then the next day they were presented with the interrogation, and Judge Jones said, I'm not doing anything about it. Jury's deliberating. There's no remedy. There's no fix. But it was at least played for the world so that Vinnie Bolotan the next day saw that and said, whoa, this isn't good. This doesn't look good. Anyways, that's your call to arms. Final piece that we're going to look at here is Ty had his hearing on the 15th. What came out of that hearing is this. His case is still with the 3rd DCA. They have not prohibited yet that the case will go forward. What they have done is they demanded that within 10 days, which I believe 10 days of the receipt or 10 days from the 15th. So by the 25th of this month, Morgan and the state have to file a response. Now, I think what the response is going to be is, again, it's the timeliness factor. I went and looked it up. Ty, as you heard in the phone call, was pretty convinced it was 20 days. I looked it up. It's actually 10. But here's what they're going to find out. Ty actually filed, because that hearing was on the 2nd. He filed the motion through pre-trial, through the way at the jail. It arrived at the clerk's office on the 10th. And then he reserved Morgan with it on the 12th. So he tells the court on the 20th, I hit him with that, but that's not true. He actually filed it on the 10th. So he's well within. And then Morgan claimed, because he tried to act like, well, the motion was filed. And remember, the only reason why, and this is why the 3rd DCA is going to definitely get deep into this, because the only reason why Morgan played it that way is because Morgan didn't show up for the hearing at the very last minute. Remember, there was a hearing scheduled. And on that day, he says, I'm not showing up, and cancels it with no explanation, redoes it on the 20th, and then attempts to claim, oh, well, I didn't know about the motion. Oh, you're filing this motion, Mr. Tucker? It's late and untimely. So believe you me, the 3rd DCA on this, that's why I stand by it. They have they absolutely are going to look at this and say, there is something here. So that's where it stands. Now, this prosecutor, there's a new prosecutor that showed up in the minutes, and his name is Philip Hart. I will share my screen, and I'm going on almost an hour. So let me share my screen here on that to show you this individual, Philip Hart. And this is the prosecutor here. So let's switch back to where we were at. So there he is, K. Philip Hart. And you can see he's Monroe County State Attorney's Office. This is the guy that was at the hearing on the 15th. So I don't know if it's maybe Judge Helms said, I don't want Mansfield and Alvarez involved right now because of everything that was raised. So they're sending a new guy in an attempt to try to, once again, move this along and make it look like there is improper stuff going on. But this is the new guy. This is the guy that showed up at the hearing. This is the guy that was on the minutes. I think I have the document here. Give me a moment. I'll show you now that I've shown you who he is. Let me switch up the documents here. I think it's this one. Yeah, no, it's this one right here. So we'll share that. And you can see State Attorney Hart. Defense pro se. So there it is. Who is this Hart guy? Don't know. I haven't talked to Ty since the hearing, so I do not know. But very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, guys, that is the update. Please do your part. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. And get this video out, okay? Because we need to share it. And do your part. File the complaint. File complaints against Alvarez, Mansfield. Look them up. You can look up their information. You can look up their bar card. It's all on that. You can do it against Jones, Morgan. The judges are still lawyers. They have to be a lawyer. Look, these guys need to be held accountable. And you are a witness now to what they did in his closing argument, where they lied to the jury. They knew they were lying, And that is a violation of their ethical code of conduct. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. More lives are coming. I promise, to talk about the cases that we're covering right now. And but I wanted to get this out as a pre-recorded live. I needed to get this information out and get this phone call out. So until the next time, guys, let justice prevail, and I'll talk to you soon.
The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. Marching with a purpose, we're taking it higher. Fighting through the struggle, igniting the fire. No more silence, we'll make the noise loud. Together in this battle, standing strong and proud. Injustice fades when courage aligns. Rise up together, break the confines. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. So rise up now, it's our time to shine. Together we'll write a new paradigm. You paradigm, you paradigm. Whoa, whoa. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. Rise up now, it's our time to shine. United and free. We'll write a new paradigm, new paradigm. United and free. United and free. United and free. The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world